Kriya Yoga for its solution. Because Kriya Yoga takes you to the presence of God. All problems are solved in Him, but we are not satisfied. We must do it. Ego must do it, and we get into more trouble. So this reference should be remembered. Now, as I have said, before we go on, before we finish, a little incident comes to my mind which illustrates evolution. How even an animal can assume the semblance of a human being. I go to the desert once in a while, and just beyond Escondido, going along there was this little clearing and a little shed, and on one part of the clearing was this great big palomino. Are those the yellow horses? Palomino horses. Big, nice horse. I think it was a mother horse, a mama. Because right by her side was this little animal, and he was always by her side. He wasn't exactly the same color she was, but he was always there, looking wise, not moving much, and he had two big ears that went this way, and sometimes they'd go up, and he wasn't just the same color, but he was a donkey. Somehow he was a donkey, and he was right there with his mother. And he was the cutest thing. His knees were together, a little knock-kneed, I think they call it, and he would stand there quietly, and every time we went by for weeks, there he was, there she was. And then one day we came by, and lo and behold, you know the donkeys are knock-kneed, and I think they rubbed their knees or something. And he had little things on his knees, little growths like warts, and I think they bothered him. Anyway, evolution worked. One time we came by, there he was, with pants on his front legs. It was the funniest thing I ever saw. Somebody had taken dungarees and split them up somehow, and there he was standing, looking with pants on. And up to here, the blue came up, and they had a strap over his shoulders. There he was, as near a human being in that part of himself as could be. When I saw that, I said to Mrs. Lewis, I've seen everything. She said the same thing. I never saw such a sight in my life. You think of it. A donkey with his big ears, quietly waiting, with pants on and knock-kneed. It was the strangest thing. It shows what can be done. Now that we've got that settled, let us finish. Just realize that the lesson is this. If we practice Kriya Yoga, we can supersede this delusion in which we find ourselves. Well, we do not know what we really are. We can supersede that and be and know what we truly are, that is, children of God, made in His image. We can express divinity. And we can speed up our evolution so that instead of coming here again and again, over and over, to this vale of tears, we can speed up our evolution and then be able to awaken within ourselves those powers which make us able to realize what we truly are, and that we are not this body, but that we are made in the image of God. And so we can speed this up. And instead of being in misery and trouble in this delusion, we can live in peace and bliss. These are facts. We can live in the presence of God. We can live knowing we're never apart from Him. Isn't it worth speeding up your evolution a little bit? It surely is. And I'll close just once more, one of Master's references, which he points out better than I can. Kriya Yoga is a simple psychophysiological method by which the human blood is decarbonized and recharged with oxygen. Our whole trouble is that our blood is filled with carbon. Toxins, they call, all sorts of names. It's simply carbon. We can eliminate that. Then the heart slows down. Then the breath slows down. Finally stops, and we know we are immortal. Such is what Kriya Yoga and the techniques of self-realization fellowship will do. It is done by recharging with oxygen. The atoms of this extra oxygen are transmuted into life current to rejuvenate the brain and spinal centers. And one Dr. Creel found out that all tissue of the body except the brain and the spinal centers are negative in reaction. But the brain and spinal centers are positive. That oxygen is what is needed to rejuvenate them. When the carbon is eliminated from the body, that surplus oxygen, by this technique, is taken to the spinal centers and the supreme center of the brain, and then we have the capacity to realize that we are divine, made in the image of God, His true children. Kriya Yoga is the fastest accelerator known to man. Those of you who can, as the time goes on, take Kriya Yoga. Speed up your evolution. Know that you're not a human being, but a true child of God.
In order to profit from these practical teachings in a meaningful way, which will have a definite and tangible impact in your life, we suggest that you subscribe to the Self-Realization Fellowship's home study course on the science of yoga. Please visit the SRF on the web at yogananda-srf.org or call the SRF's Mother Center in Los Angeles, California at 323-225-2471.